Good morning, IIEBM. My name is Balkrishna and I'm your host for today's session. I welcome you all to IIEBM's induction program of 21st Batch Ignite 2020. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you to our today's speaker, Mr. Shohrat Shankar. A certified leadership coach and assessor, along with an NLP, that is Neuro-Linguistic Programming practitioner from NFNLP USA. Mr. Shohrat Shankar has risen to great heights as a trainer with his creativity and lateral thinking that meshes knowledge with experiential learning in his workshops. His passion for new training techniques is what made him start Search for Excellence Consulting Services, where he holds the position of Master Trainer and Director. He is a Master's in Computer Management and a Certified Trainer by Dale Carnegie Training. Mr. Shankar started his career as a software programmer with Global Software Service and CIT Software Solutions, only to recognize his love for communicating and interacting with people. He then moved into the BPO industry with WNS Global Services, where he realized his passion for training and became an associate process trainer. Enriched with 22 years of total experience and 17 years of professional training experience, he has developed and conducted workshops on parameters like achieving excellence, success, passion at work, managing poor performance, interpersonal skills, emotional intelligence, etc. Mr. Shankar is now a certified SGL trainer, that is Sandvik Global Leadership Program, thus taking his expertise to next level. His acclaim as a trainer has resulted in loyalties being created with large number of reputed organizations like ICICI Bank, Sandvik Asia Limited, Bajaj Auto, John Deere India Private Limited, Kone Cranes, Volvo Eicher, Bosch India, Honeywell Automation, etc. are name a few. Mr. Shankar stands as an example of practicing what one preaches by implementing philosophies taught within his organization and empowering his employees and consultants to go to the distance. Thus, his workshops are filled with credence, passion, and power, causing participants to truly aspire for excellence. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Shohrat Shankar.
Thank you so much, Balakrishna. Can you hear me? Am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. And I look forward to this short session on building an influential personality. Let me start with the screen. I think my screen would also be visible to all of you, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So moving ahead with this, I think I'll just add a couple of things more. While I do have a lot of clients and work experience, I do work with a lot of individuals as well, Balakrishna. And I have worked with students, people in organizations at different levels. And that has luckily given me the advantage and the exposure to find out a little bit about this term, which we call influence, right? Influence is something which is critical across levels. And I think this is something which I am interested to bring forward to all of you today. So I think I have a first question to everyone. What according to you is influence? So that is something which we are going to talk about. What is influence and how it works? The key components for effective influence, the characteristics required to be an effective influencer, and 4 pillars for building an influential personality. Now, if all of you agree and feel that it is important to be an influencer and to influence people, say yes in the chat window, please. Don't be shy, start chatting. You all have the chat window, correct? So if you all feel that influence is important and it is important to be an influencer in today's environment, please say yes in the chat window. Yeah, so I can see quite a few saying that, yes. So those of you who are putting your messages out, don't put it in private. So put it as, or I think however you all decide. I think Balakrishna would have done the setting on that. So, well, our first aspect is what exactly is influence. So If you all could write in the chat window quickly, according to you, what is influence and why is it necessary? So all of you are saying yes, some of you yes, sometimes, some of you yes. So what is influence according to you? Please put down in the chat window. And why is it necessary? Quick, we have a minute. I want to see answers on this. So I can still see yes, but if you can see there's a question out there saying, what is influence and why is it necessary? Any answers, guys? According to you, what is influence? Okay, so people are thinking. So everyone said yes, yes, it is important. Yeah, so someone has said persuading someone to do something. Yes, I think that is close. Influencing is motivating someone so that people learn from that and go ahead. Perfect, thank you. Influence is means having power. Okay. So power over other people's minds can of course be used in an incorrect way as well. Influence is something which changes the thought of other person in a positive way. Absolutely. So when we look at influence, we talk about influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character development or behavior of someone or something. When you say so हिंदी में अगर बोले it says लोगों को या कोई situation को प्रभावित करना उस that is called influence, right? To influence people is to get things moving in a particular direction, to have control over the outcomes, right? Power. So not necessarily, so yes, it could be power to change somebody. It is also power to impact what is happening around you, right? So key aspects. Thank you, everyone. Now, when I look at the next part here or the next question here, where all do you need to influence? Where all is influence necessary? Where all do we need to influence? Influence is about understanding the effect you have on others. Influence is the effect of something. So yeah, we've got the definition. If you see, I've already put down the definition here. Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character. So that is on people, on the development or behavior of someone or something. That means the outcomes of any situations. So now I have the next question. Where all do you need to influence? What are the situations or scenarios where you need to influence? Guys, come on, let's get some answers on this. Like I had the excellent response for the previous question. Let's have some more responses here. Where all do you need to influence? Where all is influence necessary? Look at it from the fact that you're starting out in an MBA institute. From here, you will go into internships. From there, you will go into your jobs. In making negotiations, self-acknowledgement, and if something goes wrong, okay. Okay, so we've got some answers. Let me give you a little perspective, I think specifically from you all in college in an MBA institute. Now, first, when we say influence is necessary in a lot of areas, but most importantly, influence is necessary as you start working together on projects. Because when you work together on projects, getting the best outcome of the project requires each person to influence. In that project, how much you contribute, how effective you are shows or is reflective on how you influence the group to get the best outcome, to get the best solution, and to get the best quality of result as well. So you need influence when you're working together on projects. You need influence when you're going on a trip with friends. You want to go to one place, other people want to go to another place. If you want to get what, so in a way, what you want, or if you feel that there is a solution which is better, well, you need to influence that group to be able to go there. If you don't, you might end up going to a place which no one enjoys. Has it ever happened that you've planned a trip and the trip, you wanted to go somewhere else, but your group of friends took you somewhere else and that trip bombed? Has that happened to anyone? So let me repeat. Has it happened you wanted to go out on a trip with your friends? You wanted to go somewhere, your friends wanted to go somewhere else, and in the process you ended up going to this other place which was not effective. You all didn't have fun. Has it ever happened to you? Okay, so yes. So few people are saying yes. A lot of times it might have happened where we wanted to do something, but with that group we ended up going somewhere else and things didn't go well. So that is another place where you require to influence. Another, so as I said, deciding where to go and what to do. You need to influence that group to be able to get the best result. During an internship, you are going as an intern, you can either choose to um, be someone in the background, or you can choose to influence in that internship so that you are recognized even in an internship. So that is another place where influence is necessary. Then we look at, you all are going to go in before your internships, before the hirings, you all will go into group discussions. In those group discussions also, it is very critical that we are effectively able to influence the environment, influence the group positively. I'm not talking about dominate, I'm talking about influence the group. So there is a slight difference, right? From there, when you're a newbie in a job, how soon you are recognized, how soon people identify you as a valuable contributor to the team, to the organization, to the results, is all based on how effectively you are able to influence your environment, influence your team, influence the group around you. Because only then will you get the deserved recognition. So I've also seen a lot of times, and you all might have seen this in school also, you're working on a project, 4-5 people, one person does all the hard work but is not really much of an influencer, is not really very vocal, doesn't really speak out. Sometimes does it happen that the person who does all the hard work does not get the recognition? So in order to get that recognition, you also need to be able to influence the environment around you to get the deserved recognition which you should get. To grow in your career, influence is critical. Again, stating, very good workers sometimes do not get promoted because, or do not grow in their career because they're not able to influence people. They've got great ideas, they're not able to convince others. They've got great thoughts, but people never know about it. So the whole aspect is, if I need to grow, I need to be able to influence my environment. And I think something which was said very nicely earlier, it is about influencing positively. It is not about dominating, but it is about influencing and getting people to agree with what you're saying than just forcing them. Now, to be effective in roles where you need to get things done. Now, specifically when you start out as an intern, when you start out as a newbie in your job, what's going to happen? You're going to be someone who has absolutely no authority, right? You will be someone who has absolutely no authority, yet you will need to get things done. You will be given certain responsibilities, you will be given certain tasks, and you need to get things done. And that is where your ability to influence your peers, your seniors, your managers, all that plays a role to get your results. Because if you say, I told that person but he did not listen, all that will happen is you will be seen as incompetent. If you keep going to your boss to say, that guy isn't listening to me, please help me out and please tell him to send the report on time, what will happen is, again, your boss is doing your job for you. So that is where you need to stand up and you need to be able to influence your environment. Now, and all this will help you to reach and be effective in leadership positions. Now, I've also seen in my years of working, there are some people who become default leaders. So they grow because of certain experience and expertise, they become leaders or they become managers in certain roles, but they are absolutely a disaster in those because they're not able to influence their people, the reportees, as well as their peers to get things done. So, in all these cases, which you see here, influence is critical. Influence, as said, is the need to motivate people or the ability to motivate people to move in a particular direction or to be able to drive the outcomes of a particular project or task which you're doing, right? So that is influence. Now, if you all agree on this and would like to know more on what are the few things which we can do to be better influencers, please say yes. So would you like a few tips? Of course, we have a little time on what you can do and what you can build over the next 2 years as an MBA graduate, postgraduate, and be a better influencer in your MBA as well as afterwards. Say yes. If you all want those tips, please say yes. Lots of yeses. Good, great. So I think it's time to move ahead. But before that, we're going to do a little question. So if you can see here, there is a little question put out. Great. Thank you for all the yeses, guys. Can you see this? So we have 3 points here given here. As an individual, so think about it. As an individual, are you able to influence decisions in your group today? Do you share your views in a group, but people don't really listen? Or do you hesitate to express yourself because you feel people won't listen anywhere? Think about it. You need not give the answer, but you can think about it and try and say that if it is the first, great, you're already moving ahead to a great career. But if, yes.
Mr. Shankar, the polls are not visible on that screen. If needed, you can, you can add it right away, one by one, if needed.
So what we'll do is, I'm okay to move ahead on this because if I sit and do that, we'll lose out on a lot of time at this point.
Okay, no problem.
So guys, think about these 3 questions. Which one is most applicable to you? If it is the first, as I said, you're going very well. You're already moving towards being an influencer and being able to control your life. If it's the second, you're partway there, but you hesitate the moment someone doesn't listen. So we speak, but when someone doesn't listen, that's not influencing. Influencing is being able to push your point positively to, of course, wherever applicable, not blindly, and certainly not hesitating to express yourself because believing people won't listen. And I know, and I've seen this a lot of times, that there are many people who hesitate. And I'm going to give you a little short little background story on this. So I'm a person who grew up in school and college as someone who was quiet, never spoke, never expressed himself either in school or college. In college, I would generally sit at the back. My whole purpose of joining an IT company initially was the fact that, join an IT company, sit behind a computer, you don't have to talk to anyone, and you can continue with your job. But then I realized if I really need to grow, if I really need to move up, I need to be able to express and influence people. We all have various barriers. Some of them are real, some of them are perceived. But if we have a person, one of the barriers which people feel is, nobody's going to listen. Somebody says, my language skills aren't that good. Somebody gets nervous when they start speaking. Let me share, if you listen carefully, I'm a person who used to stammer. I'm a person who used to, जो बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में हकलाना, मैं हकलाता था. So, which is why college, school, everywhere, I never spoke. I never took part in public speaking, in elocutions, in debates, none of that. Why? Because I was happy being quiet and allowing other people to take the role. My key aspect of where I lost out, when I was in my IT company where I was working, I used to stay fixed in my work. I was excellent at it. I became a subject matter expert. I used to create the training documents for the trainer. But who got the credit? I didn't get the credit. All the credit and recognition went to the trainer. Whenever somebody came from outside, the trainer was put forward, and I went in the background. That's when I decided that I am not going to just participate in my career. I am going to influence my career. I am going to move forward and become a trainer, become someone who speaks, become someone who is able to influence the environment. And believe me, it was one of the biggest challenges because I used to stammer. I still stammer. But that the moment I've decided that I want to influence my environment, that is where that stammering went down. Right? So now, to move ahead, if you need to influence and you need to drive, the first thing you need to realize is, what is my attitude? Is my attitude that I am going to just sit quiet and listen? If my attitude is people don't listen to me, people are stubborn, people are rigid, some people just don't listen, if I go with that attitude, I will never be able to influence people. My first attitude needs to be, maybe they're not listening, but maybe I'm not saying it right, maybe I'm not planning it right, maybe there are certain things which I need to change, and that is something which we will talk about in a minute or two. Right? So the first aspect which I need to have is, I need to have a positive attitude which is going to drive that influence, which is going to drive that change, and which is going to push people to listen to me. So I can't push people to do what I have to say, but I can push people to listen to me, I can push to be heard. Of course, there are certain other factors which are relevant here, which I will come to. The next, if my attitude is right, then my behavior changes. If my attitude is negative and says, people don't listen to me, so what's the point? Then my behavior will be the same. If my attitude is, I need to influence the environment, that way my behavior will change as well. And the moment my behavior changes, that has an impact on the other person's attitude, the attitude of people around me. Because if I am willing to positively influence them, there is a certain level of influence which happens with them, right? So that is where it impacts their attitude, and thus it impacts their behavior, right? The aim is, if you are an influencer and you want to influence, what is it that you can control? Can you control other people's attitude and others' behavior? Or can you control your attitude and your behavior? What can you control, guys? Come on. Quick question. What can you control? Others' attitude or your own attitude? I'm waiting for answers. What can you control? Others' attitude or your own attitude? Our own? Yes. Many of us agree with the fact that yes, we can control our own attitude. But always remember, if you are effectively able to control your attitude, you are able to influence the other person's attitude positively. If your attitude is negative, remember, you will influence the other person's attitude accordingly. So your attitude and your behavior influences the people around you. So how you decide to choose your attitude is in your hands, right? Now, once I've decided to control my attitude, now there are a lot of other things which impact influence, right? And few of them I'm going to put forward right now. So there's an influence framework. If I need to influence people, the first thing I need to look at is me. How do people view me? But before how do people view me, how do I view myself? What do I think about myself? Because if I think negatively about myself, if I lack confidence, and if I lack a positive mindset, then I'm not going to be able to influence the people around me, right? So that's the first part. How do I see myself? And also, how do others see me? Both factors. So there are certain self qualities, and I'm going to ask you all to put that down in a moment, right? Then your relationship with others. Now, if you say, I have a group of people, I don't like them, we don't get along, but I want to be able to influence them, it's not going to be possible, right? You have to work on relationship building in your college. You need to work on relationship building in your social circle. You need to work on relationship building the moment you join your first job, because where you have relationships, it becomes easier to influence. It doesn't guarantee influence, but it becomes easier to influence. Let me give you an example. Sometimes if you're a group of friends, You might have seen when one of them gives a suggestion, if I don't get along with that guy, you'll often find that there are a lot of people who say no just because they don't like the person, or they disagree because they don't like the person. Yet at the same time, you have a friend who you really like. Whatever he says, even if you're not very happy at times, you might say yes because you value the relationship, right? So it's important to have one, a very strong self. Second, a very strong relationship with others. So in my experience with organizations, I have seen people, or even in my one-on-one coaching with them, where they say, I have a team of cross-functional guys. We are all from different departments, and nobody ever listens to me. We are always in conflict. I want to be able to influence them. So I ask them, what steps are you taking to build relationships? They say, no, we just don't get along. I say, well, if you don't get along, how is it that you're going to be able to influence them? Influence does not happen in isolation. Influence requires relationships. It requires bonding. It requires taking an effort. So today, something which I would like to tell you all, in the virtual world, interacting with others is difficult. At the same time, it's easy. Why? In the virtual world, you have a lot of ways to interact and connect with people, being nice to people and interacting with them, using various social platforms to network with them, to build a bond, saying, I might need them sometime in the future, or even if I don't need them, maybe I can help them sometime in the future, right? So if I need to influence at some point of time in the future, I need to start building on my relationships today. I need to start building on my bonds with people today, because if I don't do it now, when I need them, they will not be there. For example, suddenly I have the need that, I want help from XYZ person. But what's happened is I've not spoken to that guy in 2 years. Do you think I can pick up the phone and ask him for a favor? No, it becomes difficult, right? So that is where I need to realize that if I need to get things done, relationship building is another very important part after self building and after identifying what is it that people need to see in me, right? Now, post this, there is a third part in all conversations. How am I able to effectively, when you see, communicate my context? When I say context, that is my perspective, my thought process, my viewpoints, my situation, my challenges, what I need, and how effectively I'm able to understand what the person in front of me needs, right? So I'm going to give you a very critical statement. Remember this: the best influencers are not those who speak best, but the best influencers are those who listen best. So let me repeat that. The best influencers are not those who only speak best, but those who also listen best. So again, it doesn't mean that speaking is not necessary, but along with speaking, you also need to be able to listen. Because if I'm able to listen, I understand your perspective. So what happens? If I'm in a conversation only pushing my context and not willing to understand yours, you will shut down and you will not listen to me. But if I'm willing to understand you and willing to listen to you, then you will reciprocate and be willing to listen to me, right? So influence is not about getting only what I want, but influence is about getting what is best for everyone in this given situation, and provided you're also able to communicate it accordingly, right? So if you see, influence happens in this Venn diagram. When you look at the absolute middle part, when the self is strong, when the relationship with others is good, and I am able to effectively communicate my context as well as understand and present things from your context point of view. At this point of time in our careers, of course, the focus needs to be on self, on building of self. Relationships will take a little time. Understanding context and different contexts will take a little time, but building of self needs to start now, right? And in order to do that, I have another question to you, right? So think about it, and please Give your answer A, B, C, or D. So while it's not the first one, in your personal or professional groups, are you always in the limelight? Are you visible and pretty involved most of the times? Or are you a person who avoids pushing his views and opinions whenever there are too many people and too many opinions? Too many people talking, too many views, let me keep quiet. Or do you stay in the background and believe in supporting the group and doing whatever is needed to execute, but stay in the background? I'm a nice guy. I like to stay in the background and support the group. What do you like to do? So A, B, C, or D. Be honest. Other people can't see your response, and I don't know who you are. So be honest about it. Think about it. What are you actually doing today? A, B, C, or D? Yeah, so some fluctuate from B to D also. We are involved most of the times, but then sometimes it's better to stay in the background. Some C, great. Thank you for the honest responses. C, D. Yeah, so especially those of you who are in a C and D, it's time to move up, because you're doing an MBA, right? You're doing an MBA for a reason. You're doing an MBA to get the best out of your career. But if you're not able to influence your environment around you, you won't get the best out of your career, because you might be very skilled, but nobody knows it. I might have great ideas, but I don't push my views because there's so many viewpoints coming from other people, right? So it's very critical to positively push our viewpoints, effectively put forward our context so that we are able to influence our environment. Thank you so much for the very honest responses from many of you. I like that. Those of you who also are thinking, so also there's a fact. If you're thinking B or C, C or D, if there is a little doubt, remember it's normally the lower one. The only if I'm very sure, then I'll automatically give myself the higher one. Wherever there's a doubt, it will go a little lower, right? So just something for you to think about. Okay, great. Thank you. Now, quick, what are the key factors or the key things a person needs to have to build a stronger self to influence? To be able to influence people, what are the key factors I need to build, I need to have to be able to influence my environment? Quickly put them down in the chat. What is it? What are the factors which play a role to be an effective influencer? But as self. So not the relationship, not the context, but only saying, what do I need to build in myself? Yeah, so good personality is a very broad term. My question actually is, what needs to be there in that personality for people to think it's a good personality? Yes, one is confidence, one is good communication skills. I totally agree with you, but please remember, good communication skills does not mean language. I could be a great communicator in any language as long as I can put my point across. Don't lose your confidence because of your language skills. Not hesitating in ideas, energy, positive attitude. Someone said teamwork. Now, teamwork, very important, but teamwork also has its flip side. Sometimes because I want to just support the team, I might not put forward a great point because I don't want to make anyone angry. Remember, influence is not about always being nice. It is about doing what is best for the team, putting forward what is best for the team. Yes, leadership, passionate, hardworking, clearly putting forward thoughts. Yes, so some of you have said communication skills a few times. Yes, I agree. But again, I'm going to repeat this. Communication skills does not necessarily mean language skills. While it's important in a corporate environment to develop one's English skills, even if they aren't, doesn't mean I cannot be a good communicator. Example, you have a Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. His speeches are in Hindi. You have a lot of great speakers who speak in Hindi, Marathi, regional languages, right? Absolutely. So there are many things which we can do. First of all, is impactful communication. For example, I've been speaking to you in a particular way, but instead of speaking in that way, what if I were to have given you this entire presentation or entire webinar in this manner, the way I'm talking to you right now? If I were to talk to you with no body language, no movement in voice, no energy in my voice, what would happen to all of you? If I were to continue like this, I'm very sure you all would go to sleep, right? So if I'm not able to keep your attention, I am very sure people are not able, will not get influenced. So first step, be able to grab attention through impactful communication. Second step, be assertive and confident. When I say assertive, assertive means if you have a viewpoint, put it forward. If you disagree with someone, express it. Because unless you express it, people don't know what you really think. Believe me, I've had people over the years tell me, I have so many great ideas, but before I can put my idea in front on the table or in a meeting room, somebody else has given the idea. The worst thing is to be sitting on an idea saying, I have an idea. Should I say? Shouldn't I say? Should I say? Shouldn't I say? And while you are thinking, somebody else has given the idea. Remember, if you say that was my idea, if you didn't say it, it's not your idea. Who says it? It's that person's idea. You'll also find as you move ahead in your career, if you don't express yourself openly in front of everyone and you share your ideas in smaller groups to people, soon people will say, yeah, this guy has great ideas. He's not putting it forward. Let me put it forward. So what will happen is they will use your ideas as theirs and you can do nothing about it if you haven't expressed yourself. Don't blame them if you didn't speak up, right? So you need to be assertive and confident. Then active listening and an open mind. When I say active listening is active listening is specifically talking, trying to understand the other person's perspective, trying to listen carefully so that when I listen to you, when I understand you, when I understand what you are saying, then I am able to effectively put my point forward from your context. If I'm not listening to you, I'm only talking what I want to say, right? Of course, ironically, this conversation is largely one way, but we will have a 10-minute session in a few minutes where I will answer all your questions. Right now, when I say being authentic, there's another aspect saying being authentic. Being authentic is, it shouldn't happen that you say one thing in front of people here and you're actually doing something else. Being authentic is being honest, where people say Sharat is this type of person, he will always behave in this manner. So what happens, there is a consistency in the person's behavior. The moment that happens, people have more confidence and belief in that person. Then this is a big topic. I'm not going to be able to get into it right now, but you all are at a nascent point of time in your career. This is the time to build self-awareness. Now, when I say self-awareness, it is true understanding of your strengths and areas of development so that you start working on it. Also, when you say emotional intelligence, it's about when things are not going right, not looking at who is to blame for it, but saying, what can I do? What part of my attitude and my behavior can I change to be able to impact my environment around me? Right? So that is, in brief, what I would say emotional intelligence, not getting stuck with your own negative emotions. And then having an element of self-control. Now, self-control is very critical when you need to influence a group. Now, if I'm trying to influence you, if I'm trying to influence a group of people, and when people start disagreeing with me, if I get angry, if I start shouting, if I start saying, no, aise hi karna hai, what happens is people say, what's wrong with this person? So after some time, people will start detaching away from me. So it's important to have a calculated approach if I need to influence people. It's important to have control to say, I know what I'm saying, when I'm saying, I know how I'm going to say it, because I am in control of myself, my body language, my voice, my thoughts, and how I'm communicating all of this to people. There are a lot of people you'll find who are not in control. If they are not, they will not be able to build a proper, strong self image. Then, empathy. Does anyone know what empathy means? I've been talking for some time, so let me quickly reach out to all of you. Does anyone know what empathy means? Quick, guys, what is empathy? No answers? So there are a few questions which people have put forward. I will answer those in a bit. Yes. So first, putting yourself in other people's shoes. Yes. Yes. Understanding others, understanding how other people feel. Because once I understand you, I can communicate from your perspective. However, we need to be careful. If I become overly empathetic and understanding other people, I will not put my point forward. So I need to balance assertiveness and empathy. So have a good balance of putting my point forward and understanding the other person's point. Balancing that makes the most effective people. And now, a couple of key points. It is important, if I need to build an influential personality, I need to be visible. Now, let us say I'm in college. Most of the projects, most of the events, whatever is being done, I'm someone who likes to stay in the background. I'm not visible. People don't know who I am. And now suddenly I have a thought, I have an idea, and I go up to my management, to the college management, to say, I think we can do things in this way. Their belief or their trust in me will be less because they don't even know who I am, right? So visibility is a very critical factor. Whether you like it or not, I don't like to make this statement, but जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. So in your career, be visible, but at the same time, don't be visible. बोलते ना, खाली visibility नहीं. Be visible and build credibility and trustworthiness. When I say credibility and trustworthiness, how much do people believe in you? How much do people trust you? How often do people say that, Sharath is the guy that, you have a question, you have a query, he's the guy who will give you the answer. Or if he has committed, you all have, that Dabang statement, right? एक बारी मैंने commitment कर दी तो फिर मैं खुद की भी नहीं सुनता. Are you a person like that? Do people recognize you as a person who is credible and trustworthy? That you've given your commitment, now it will happen. Whether it is in college, whether it is with friends, whether it is at work, right? So think about this last question. Do people in your groups rely on you completely? Do they mostly they don't believe what you say or commit? Or do they always come to you for advice and opinions? Or do they never come to you for advice and opinions? Think about it, because that decides your credibility which you have created. So, okay, so give this a thought. I'm not going to stay with this. We are running a little short on time, so I'm going to move to the last slide which I have, and then I will take on all the questions, right? So first, in order to build credibility, when I say be credible, okay, I think some of you are trying to answer that. Let me come back here. Okay, some have said B, C, D. So that's, some of us are being really honest about this. Thank you. It's more important to be honest to ourselves, so that when we realize, people don't really believe me or don't really believe my commitments or never come to me for advice. Remember, unless I change that today, in the future, I will have a challenge influencing people. So I need to change that viewpoint which people have of me today, right? So I'm going to move on from here. I'm going to move on to what are the 4 things which I need to do to build credibility. See, if I look at what all do I need to do, I need to work on my communication. I need to start being more assertive. I need to start listening more carefully. I need to build self-awareness, self-control, start looking at things from other people's point of view. But most importantly, today, I need to start working on my credibility and trustworthiness. That is the most important thing which I need to do at an initial part of my career. Because today, the friends which I make, let me give you an example. Today, you are in college, but people do not rely on you. People do not think you're trustworthy. People do not believe in your word. Now, once you get out into a job, maybe you change some years down the line. Situation makes you change. But now your college mates are in different positions in different companies across. Now, I reach out to one of them to say, I need you. Let's say I want a job in his company. how comfortable will he be to recommend you based on the past experience which he's had of you? He won't be, right? He won't be very confident. He won't be very comfortable because he's not sure of your credibility and trustworthiness. He doesn't know you've changed. You know you've changed. So remember, your alumnus today is your network and your entire audience as you move ahead. Your ability to influence your environment and the world around grows as your network grows. Your network today, your college today, are the guys who are going to be your network tomorrow. So the credibility you have today. So when I say credibility, first, being credible means fulfilling your commitments, fulfilling your promises, ensuring that people trust what you say and trust what you are going to do, right? They know who you are, they know what you're going to do, right? So that is the first. Now, be someone who delivers on time, be someone who wants to do things to the best of his ability. Don't do things saying यार project करने को बोला है कर दिया. Try to do it to the best of your ability. Then in your environment now, grab opportunities. Grab every opportunity you can. Volunteer for activities, volunteer for to arrange things, volunteer to coordinate, because the more you volunteer in the activities today, the more your credibility is built with this group, and the more confidence you have to do this when you start your first job, when you go into your internship. Because I've seen a lot of times when there are group activities, a manager comes into a meeting room and says, I have a project. Who's going to work on this? Most people just keep their head down saying, let the manager assign it to someone. Remember, if the manager is assigning it to someone, you have not grabbed the opportunity. You have not made yourself visible. You have not made yourself credible or trustworthy, right? And then you look at taking responsibility and ownership. Now, let me give you an example of this. A lot of times what will happen is you're working with your group. You give an idea, you give a suggestion. Maybe think the group doesn't take it. Now how you respond is very important and impacts your credibility. If I'm a person saying ठीक है तुम्हारा idea तुम काम करो, and I move towards the background and just participate a little bit, my credibility and trustworthiness gets impacted. But if I say, okay, you didn't take my idea, no problem, I will support you, I will support the team to get the best result out, because I take responsibility and ownership for my team. I look at the bigger picture. What will happen tomorrow? These guys will support you. When you need their help, they will come to you, right? So that is the third aspect, taking responsibility and ownership. Think big, think as a team. Don't think only about yourself. And lastly, step up. Over the next few years, you will find a lot of things where nobody is willing to. For example, there's something which you need as a batch. Nobody is willing to go up and talk to the management about it. Being able to step up and say, I am the one who will bell the cat. I am the one who will take that step. It might be risky, it might be scary, but I will do it. So showing that, yes, I am willing to take a certain amount of risk, being willing to overcome one's fear of failure, overcome the aspect that what if things go wrong, doesn't matter. It's not been tried before. I will try it first. I will be the forerunner. Because if I step up, I might fail. Don't worry. But what will happen is people will recognize me for my courage. Right? So these are 4 points. If you do, you will certainly be able to drive more effective credibility and trustworthiness amongst you for yourself. Right? So I think this is where I stopped. I'll just quickly recap. So first, influence is critical. You need it in every situation. To influence effectively, you need to be able to first manage your attitude and your behavior. Remember, you'll be able to influence everyone else then. Realize, do I want to participate in my career or do I want to influence my career? And after that, build the self, then develop relationships, and then try and understand and present the context to everyone. After that, I build my credibility and my trustworthiness and my visibility through these 4 points. Be credible, grab opportunities, take responsibility and ownership, and step up. So this is where I end. I think Balakrishna, I would like you to put forward any of the questions which people have asked, I think we are almost ending. I know I've overshot my time a little bit. My apologies. But I hope you all found certain inputs from this session, which you all can go back and take in and implement. And if there are any questions you have on how, I'd love to answer them. I would also like to share with you all, Balakrishna, if I may, my contact details in case people want to connect with me to understand
Yes.
more.
Yes.
Right, so these are my contact details. You can write down the email address as well as the first number is my mobile number. You're welcome to connect with me. Right, okay, so Balakrishna, handing over to you.
Yes. So I think let them note down your number and your email ID, and then I'll start the questions. Shall we end the screen now?
Yeah, so if all of you have noted it down, I think I'll stop sharing. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, so now they started the question, so I think I'll stop sharing now.
Yeah.
Okay, please.
Okay, so the first question is what are your suggestions for those who are always in limelight? So I saw a lot of responses. So it was B, C, D. Nobody said A. What are your tips for those who are A, who are always in limelight?
So when you say tips for moving further ahead, because they're always in the limelight. Now you can be in the limelight positively or you can be in the limelight negatively, right? So that limelight either impacts your credibility in a positive manner or the opposite. So being in the limelight in an effective, positive manner is good, especially in our career moving ahead. Of course, it doesn't mean I hog the limelight or grab the limelight from others. It means I do what makes me happy and what I can do to build my visibility and my credibility. But remember, not at the expense of others, not at the expense of people. It is about saying, I can have my limelight, but I can take people with me. I can grab people along and say, by me alone, let's all four of us have the limelight together. Okay, or five of us have the limelight together. Remember, when you do things honestly and authentically, people know who is putting in the effort, who is the leader. You can also be the leader of the group from behind. Everyone knows who that leader is, right?
Right.
I think one of the best examples of this is probably Balasaheb Thackeray, right? He was the leader, everyone knew it undoubtedly, but he did not want the limelight, but yet he was the one influencing. So you can be visible without being visible. I don't know whether I've really answered that question, Balakrishna.
Got it. So the next question is, what if one hesitate building communication with others? Any tips on what should be the approach professionally and personally?
So this is somewhere or something I totally empathize with, or I understand. As I shared, I was someone who used to stammer. I was someone who in school and college would never stand up and speak. So I'll give you an example, and some of you might relate with this. When I used to be walking down the passageway in my college or school, if a teacher was coming from the other side, I would turn away, because if I had to start saying good morning, I would go g g g g g g g, and by the time the teacher passed, I would still be not have completed good morning. So what happened is I would not initiate conversations at all. Then one thing somebody told me was focus on your strengths. So there are two things. Maybe fluency of speech was not my strength, but my thought process was my strength, right? So my ability to start saying, okay, what are my strengths? What is it that I can focus on? Not focusing on what you don't have, but start building, focusing on what you have and start building what you don't have. There are certain things you can't change, right? So that is, but you can start building on them. It won't turn overnight, but you can start building on it. So if I hesitate, so I also remember when I started working in the first few networking meets I would go to, right? I would initially go in a training room. I would go find a corner and sit down alone. I said, by doing that, what do I achieve? So then I started saying, even if I don't like it, even if I'm scared, even if I'm uncomfortable, I will go into a new forum and try to find a group of people who I don't know. Right. So I started actually saying, let me go out and meet people who I don't know. So I'd find this room, look, okay, these people I know, these people I don't know. These people are junior, I'll be comfortable here. These people are senior, I'll be uncomfortable here. So I found the group which I was uncomfortable and went and sat down there. When I did it once, I did it twice, I did it 3 times, I did it 4 times. Soon I was no longer uncomfortable. Right? If you look at it, if you pay attention, if you go back on the video recording, you'll find I still do stammer slightly. Right? I do pause at times. But now I'm not worried about it because I say that, I might stammer, but I know I speak reasonably well. So let me speak. All right. So I'll also give you all a very clear tip. It's a 98% versus 2% rule. Remember, 98% of the obstacles and barriers are all in your head. The day you overcome that 98%, the 2% is a small thing. It gets overcome on its own. Right. So I hope I've answered that question.
The next question is an interrelated question. So let's say if someone is in that transition of going to that groups where he is not comfortable.
Yeah.
In those groups, there are few people who are very dominating. How to tackle these kind of people?
So absolutely. So one thing which I've realized is when you have a dominating person in front and you want to be able to put your viewpoint forward, you cannot put it forward for example, if you have said that the sun is bright, right? And I feel, nahi yaar, clouds hain. But if I start to say, no, I disagree with you, there are clouds, then we get into a debate. Then what happens? The dominating person does not let me express my viewpoint. But if I acknowledge what you have said, for example, I say, yes, I agree. You might feel that, I agree that it is bright. However, I have a slightly different take to it, that while it was bright a little while back, right now it is a little cloudy. So I've acknowledged what you have said and without contradicting. So when we get down into contradicting a dominant person, he takes it as a battle. Right? So it's like talwar aa jate hain. So then because he is more dominating and he is more expressive, he or she might not give you an opportunity. But if you recognize that person's viewpoint, you are effectively able to not directly contradict, yet say, I agree with your perspective, or we might have a different perspective here. This is what I feel. You're not going into a direct opposition, but you at least have a chance to express yourself. And once I get the confidence of expressing myself a few times, that confidence builds. Then I start working on how do I express myself even more strongly to change a viewpoint. Of course, that's not all that easy, but there are techniques for that as well. There are a whole lot of techniques on how you can build influence, which those who are interested are welcome to connect with me also on that. It's not something I can cover in 2 hours.
Right.
Back to you.
So another interrelated question.
Yes.
So our discussion is also becoming a link. So in the transition, when you start building that confidence, confidence and overconfidence, a very thin line. How to overcome that?
Yeah. And I think confidence and overconfidence comes from, so being able to understand that comes from that's why I put down the self-awareness and emotional intelligence. Right. So your emotional intelligence plays a very important role to being able to identify your emotions as balanced confidence or overconfidence. One. Second, your self-awareness also makes you understand, am I the only one speaking or am I giving people the opportunity? Of course, in this case, in on a lighter note, I'm the only one speaking, but but in a conference room, saying that while I might want to say what I'm saying, am I giving people the opportunity to speak? Am I giving people the space to speak and express themselves? That comes from an element of self-awareness, which also grows from introspection. So asking myself a few times. So for example, the points which I had put down here, Balakrishna, I would love it if you share it with the participants as well, right? So that becomes like a checklist for them. I'm getting into a conversation. Was I assertive and confident? Yes. Am I working on my impactful communication? Yes. Did I listen to people in this? No. Okay, so next time, what do I need to do? I need to work on listening to people a little bit more. Was I aware of how I spoke to someone or how I interrupted someone? no, I didn't pay attention to that. Let me go back and be more careful of that next time. Right? So that is the points which you put down can literally be like a checklist. So every conversation, and as every conversation proceeds, it's not something which one is able to do in one day, right? It is an effort, but an effort saying, I keep ticking it off, right? And every conversation I introspect, I think of what changes I have managed to make and what more changes I need to make to be more effective next time. So always look at it saying, this time you bombed, it doesn't matter. How will I do it better next time?
Right. So, with your permission, if you have time,
Yes,
shall I take 2, 3 more questions?
absolutely. I love speaking, as you all might have realized now.
Okay. So, any tips to master public speaking?
Okay. So the first, I was absolutely where some of these guys have doubts. I would not be able to speak. So few tips. When you all are going up on stage, the first thing is you need to manage the inner thoughts. So the inner thoughts are largely, when I say attitude and behavior, the attitude is your inner thoughts and inner conversation. If you go up thinking, oh God, what if I fail? What if I mess up? What if things go wrong? What if somebody asks me difficult questions? What if? And if I put so many what ifs, remember every what if makes you think of the worst, right? And the moment you think of the worst, your brain imagines the worst and creates an emotion related with that. Now what happens in you are feeling multiple negative emotions before you go up there. There is no way it can go well. So instead you need to change the conversations which you have with yourself first. So you don't say what if, or if you want to say what if, you say, what if this goes well? What if I'm able to really kick ass in this presentation? What if I'm able to answer every question? And you'll say, okay, people will clap, people will smile, people will be nice. So what happens automatically, the emotions which I have are more positive. It makes it easier for me to deliver. Of course, deliver has to be based on a certain element of planning, preparing, practicing before we present, right? So we do this when we talk about presentation skills. We say most of the time I've seen, whether it is in college or in work, people are making their PPTs. They finish making their PPTs 5 minutes before the presentation, and then they go up to give the presentation. Now, if you're doing that, you have your slides ready, but you actually haven't prepared yourself or practiced to deliver, right? So how comfortable you are with the topic and with that also impacts. Now, once you're up there, when you see a crowd, generally we say the first thing is we get nervous. First step, I'll tell you all, look at the people in front and smile. When you smile at the people in front of us, what is the response which is going to come from them? Smile. Now, the moment they smile, you say, someone's smiling at me. But if you go up there looking serious at them, invariably people reciprocate your expression, right? So if you're looking serious, they'll look serious. They look serious at you, you'll get nervous. So that's the first part. So you look at the audience, you smile. Second, you also ensure that there is a certain level of body movement. If your body is stiff, like I'm talking to you all virtually, right? I don't really need to have the body movement. But in order to be relaxed, in order to really express myself effectively, I need to move my body, because my body language and my voice together merge to give the right impact in front, right? And every time you get nervous, or initially when you get nervous, pause, take a deep breath. Something which I used to do was have a glass of water next to me. So the moment you forget, let's say your mind has gone blank like a whiteboard, you just pause, say, excuse me, act as if you're coughing, take a couple of deep gulps of water. Remember, water is relaxing. While you're drinking water, you will also oxygenate the body, and you'll have a chance to take a deep breath. The moment you take a deep breath, oxygen goes to the brain, and a lot of things which you forgot, you suddenly remember. Many of you might have seen that when you get nervous and you sit down, you get stuck, you forget so many things. And once you sit down after the present and you do, suddenly everything comes to your mind. Oh shit, I should have said this, should have said that, because now oxygen has come in and your mind is free. So try to do that when you're on stage. Second, last, or whatever number, I'm not sure now, but it is very important to regulate your breathing. Okay, so in between, pause, take reasonably deeper breaths, especially if you're nervous. Pause, slow down, try not to speak fast. I know I'm speaking fast, it's probably now, but when I first started 18 odd years back, I was very careful to speak slowly so that the speed of thought and speed of voice are matched. If my speed of voice is faster than my speed of thought, I'll tumble over my words and I'll miss out things, and then suddenly I don't know what to say, right? So Balakrishna, I think that's all I could remember offhand right now.
Okay, so another question, but a personal one.
Yeah.
What is the happiest part of your daily routine?
The happiest part of my daily routine right now or normally?
Normally.
Okay. Well, I think the happiest part of my daily routine over the last 18 years has been when I come up on stage and talk to people.
So this is the happiest part of your daily.
Yeah. So I think before this, after this, there's a lull. One's doing things which are not so energetic. But once I get down to speaking, and speaking specifically from things which I enjoy, I mean, I'm talking about something which I enjoy. At that point of time, I enjoy. I mean, I'm happy. Other than that, so just to let you all know, I'm also a very active rider. I travel. And that is what I love doing in the week. In a week, if I can, of course, last 3 months have been a bit of a challenge, but I've traveled the entire country on my bike. And in fact, I've even started, I'm one of the founders of a riding club. We are a 150 member club. And my entire skills of influence have been tested and understood even through this, right? Because being able to influence a group of 150 people who don't owe you any allegiance as such. We are all, when you say, how do you become the first among equals? Right. And that is where I would say the 4 points which I put down, which is about being credible, grabbing opportunities, taking ownership and responsibility, and stepping up. I think some of the key things which have got me to become more influential in that group. And while we were a group of 8 people who founded it, I would like to say that to a large extent, I am probably one of the most influential from them. I'm not trying to boast here. I'm just trying to say that for me, this is what motivates me. So I can see someone asked a question, because from being a person who was an introvert, who used to be never stand out, never visible in front of a group, to now being a de facto visible, influential person, I think it says that if I could do it, anyone could do
it. Right. So there are n number of questions. So probably what we will do, we'll send you an email with all the questions, so you can address. And I just want to, thank you so much for this inspiring session. I'm sure students will start introspecting and they will become a better human being. On behalf of IIBM family, I want to express my gratitude for this session. We wish you a great success in all your future endeavors, with the hope of meeting you again. Long live IIBM and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Balakrishna. Cheers. All the best to everyone. All the best, guys. I wish you all the very best for your careers ahead. I know this entire MBA the way it started is far more challenging than anyone else. And I wish you the very best to be able to overcome the challenges of the next couple of years and be really successful in your careers ahead. Be influential, be strong, be visible, be credible. Thank you.
Thank you so much.